Today is Monday, August 6th, 2018. Get ready for the Emergency Broadcast System, the Forbidden History series, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Time to call your friends. We now interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program. And special thanks to YouTube.com for hosting the Forbidden History series. Please note that the following views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever to be construed as medical nor legal advice. And good morning, Jedi. And Lynn, you should have sound now. Confirm you've got sound, okay? Good morning, Ninja. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the realpublicradio.net. Because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way twice a day, 7 days a week, 9 a.m., 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. And thank you, Lynn. Okay. Yeah, when I said on air now, I mean I was just turning it on. Stand by for the broadcast. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and the heart of Amish country and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History series. The great lies of history, the words that kill, the ABCs of light, symbolism, and a whole lot more, ladies and gentlemen. What are you looking for? We are the deprogramming program. Hoping to make your world better. We're not going to change the world, but we can make your world better by being set free from the lies and the deception, because the battle, as you know, it is for the mind. And the truth is a light, but ignorance is the darkness. And these are the great antagonists, the one against the other, that we must overcome. Once we can begin to comprehend the true nature of things as they really are, then we can begin to comprehend that there is nothing more to complain about. It is the grand illusion. And if you don't know where you're going, then any road will get you there. The best way to identify the truth is to identify the lies, the great lies of history. And if a lie is repeated long enough, well, it becomes a truth. And it's easier to lie to people than it is to convince them that they have been lied to. Some people can't handle the truth. They say, don't give me the facts, just give me the fiction. And that's all I want to hear, the fiction. It's an amazing world, ladies and gentlemen. They have programmed and conditioned us, preparing and doing it for thousands of years. They have perfected the mind control. and we'll do a review on mind control that I wanted to follow up on the works of Stephen Jacobson. We have a bit of symbolism here, a book review, and a whole lot more coming your way. And welcome, dear friends, to the Forbidden History series. I am your host, Desert Owl, a bird who sees in the night, and didn't ask for this job. You know, the job just came to me somehow in the great mystery. And I know it's by the Trevane love of the great Father of Light, who cares so much for the people of this world, and knows they're being kicked around and beaten up and abused and tortured and starved and defrauded. And you know, he knows all things, and therefore um, to have a bearing on where we are in this world is a miracle, and we have to also become like Yeshua, you know, to put on the aura of helping those who we care about when we know the truth, and we want others to know the same truth and to put it on. And thank you for the 10, Lynn. Appreciate that. And it seems like a long journey on earth, but when you compare it with eternity, I mean, our life is a dog's life, you know. Seems so sad to have those beautiful little creatures, cats and dogs, just live 10 years, maybe 15 or 20 if they're lucky, but to have such short lives for such beauty and friendship that they provide. And then, you know, we're here for, you know, just shy of 100, somewhere in between 50 and 100 years. We've really got a dog's life, and I think that's probably to remind us how short our lives is, to have those pets die on us so young. I've had so many animals. I don't. It hurt me every time to lose one, you know. But anyway, let's get on with the program here. Don't forget, you can call in if you have a comment or a question or a observation. Skywatch, you've got you know, a good camera click yesterday or today, then, you know, give us a call, 608-566-7295, 608-566-7295. You can Skype in at Free America Radio. That's all one word, Free America Radio. And you can also then instant message us there. And it should say in Kingsland, Georgia, even though I'm in Central Ohio. Okay. And so a quick, I guess, several things looking at me, and I'm just going to knock them out real quick before we get to the bigger part. I just confirmed this morning that, as you may recall, that we talked about the very center chapter of the Bible being Psalm 119, and then Jedi was really great in giving us a little more food for thought on that. She was right up on it. I used to send out a PowerPoint presentation that was really great on this, and wish I could access my data because everybody'd love to get a copy of this. And Ninja is saying, and trolled, don't get me started, that you, Desert, very much, well, don't get me started, that, thank you for very much for this channel. You are helping so many to stay motivated. Well, thank you, Ninjas. I'm motivated as well. Okay, if you weren't there, I wouldn't be here, right? You know, and I was really feeling down, not having anybody to talk to, and so it's really great to have some wonderful friends to spend a short moment with every day. You're all keeping me alive, I got to tell you. Okay, so missed the word get. Okay, very good. And so anyway, getting back to Psalm 119, what I just proved out this morning, because I was reading Psalms in my Farrar Fenton, and don't you know that that I can now prove out that this Psalm 119 is you know, a manipulation of the Masoretes. The Masoretes, they gave us our Masoretic text of the Old Covenant, and well, they've manipulated it. That's been the point all along that I've been sharing with you, and I show you the lies and the manipulation that are right in our scriptures. It doesn't mean our scriptures still can't give us light. It just means that they're having some fun, switching some things out and what have you. So So every every eighth verse in Psalm 119, then we see the letters of the alphabet in the Hebrew script. Well, actually Yiddish. Okay, forgive me. I forgot. That it's Yiddish, and by the Khazars. By the Khazars. It's not Hebrew. It's the Khazarians, and so they have their alphabet every eight verses. Then you've got the next letter of the alphabet. Okay, and so the fact that and so this is not in Farrar Fenton at all. Okay, and Farrar Fenton went back to the original, most ancient, not the originals, but the most ancient, the oldest text that he could find. Okay, and it's not there. Okay, so he didn't put the alphabet every eight verses in Psalm 119. This is the evidence of manipulation. And why every eight verses? Okay, but if you remember, you got to read the symbol, and if you know the symbol, then you know that every eight verses, well, eight is the number of return. You remember I told you about the GH? We did a program one day on the GH, and GH is pronounced eight, and it is therefore also the symbols of return. H is the number of return. Eight and H are synonymous. That's why they sound the same. 8H, right? H, eight, sound very similar. And then when you draw a line across the top and a line across the bottom of the letter H, capital H, you get two squares, and it looks like the number eight, right? Upper circle, lower circle, upper square, lower square, the square in the circle, and that creates the mandala. And I'm going to do a follow up on that mandala. That's coming up next. But I wanted to get this book off the desk because it's cluttering my area right now for work. And I will. So I wanted to point out that in Psalm 119, when you have the Yiddish alphabet, every eight verses, it is a fabrication of the Metzorites. Okay, the Mitzrayim. Okay, that's Egypt. Okay, Egypt. And so they're clearly not Hebrew when they're calling themselves Metzorites. Okay, they are Egypt. They love Egypt because they are of the Shiva occultism from Hindustan, India, the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthood that's been running our world secretly behind the scene. Okay, so realize that when you see that in Psalm 119, it is a code that you aren't supposed to read, but they get it. They get it. They're laughing all the way to their banks while they rip off the good people of their title to property through fraudulent commercial schemes that they've been doing since Yeshua threw them out of the temple, those banksters. But it was going on way before then. It's always been a merchant's game because they wanted to conquer the world. They wanted to take control and run people, have their little heyday, a dog's life. But maybe, if they drank the snake venom, they got to live 10 times more than a dog's life, up to 1,000 years old. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The mystery unfolded. Okay, it keeps unfolding. I've been studying this stuff all my life, and I just saw this for the first time today, and it's thanks to the all-time transliterator of our scriptures, Farrar Fenton. You've got to get a copy. If you love the scriptures, get a copy of Farrar Fenton because it will be like reading your scriptures for the first time. Because I have a number of things to cover here today, I'm going to hold off until I finish reading the first two chapters of Genesis, considered as a basis of science, by D.E. Hart Davies out of England. This was done in the 1930s. This got only 40 pages. I'm a third of the way through it right now, and I'm going to finish it to give me some more prep time when I do the oral read of the first three chapters of Bereshith. It may do four. I may read a little bit more in there because I'm gonna give you the oral version since I can't type it. I don't have a Word, nor do I have they charge now for Word. In Windows 10 you got to actually pay $150 a year to get Word. So I don't have the funny money to get Word, and I don't have all my documents that are on my other computer. I can't. My hands are tied right now. So I'll do the oral version, but that'll be in a few days. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little definition of mind control when we get to our words. All right, and then I want to go on this topic of Mandela that we talked about yesterday. We made some discoveries, and I want to go a little further on that, okay? Because there was a lot of things we disposed of there, and it was all good, you know. And so I looked up the definition for Mandela, and I thought I should read it, okay? Because this is fundamental. This is the key, okay? The circle is the keyhole, and so okay, so that's coming up. Now I just wanted to do a little bit on symbolism here, a little bit on symbolism, and because last night I had a profound thought. You know, I was thinking about just before bed last night. For some reason, I was thinking about sports and kick, you know, and how people. Oh, I was envisioning how people get excited about watching the ball game, right? And they say, "Oh man, did you see how he threw the ball? Man, didn't he throw that ball? Man, that ball, they kicked that ball around. Look, man, did you see he threw the Hail Mary? Look at that ball, 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 ball." And all of a sudden, I realized, well, wait a minute, what are all these games about? The golf ball, right? You know, and 18 holes. There's your 3 sixes, 18 holes, and golf backwards is flog. It's an anagram for flog. I guess they want to hit us over the head with their golf club after they're done flogging the ball, because that's what it means is flogging the ball. But they spell it backwards, give it some posh sounding name, golf, but it's flog. They're flogging, and so you know when I realized, wait a minute. It's all about the ball, isn't it? Now, Webster's 1828 dictionary says that you know, sports means diversion, and we know that they wanted to divert us. And actually, competition means to make somebody competent, but instead they switched it over to the sports, which was the diversion. And then they got everybody worshiping what? Worshiping the ball game, worshiping ball, BAAL. Getting the picture, ladies and gentlemen. The ball game. It's the big game. It's the biggest game of them all. It's ball. Ball worship. Ball worship brought in the guise of sports, which is the diversion, rather than looking at eclectic academia, knowledge, reality, truth, right? Amazing. You know, so I'm just totally captured with that one. It's like, how did I not pull that one together sooner? Maybe I saw it one day, but it never made an impression on me like this. You know, the ball, even in you know, Central America. Remember, we're in the pyramid civilizations down there in the Aztecs or whoever they were. I don't remember now. The Mayan, and they had to kick the ball around and get it through that circle that was on the side of the wall. And the irony was, whoever won the game got to be sacrificed, right? Whoever won the game. You think they kicked that ball real serious? I don't know. You know, how could you get excited about being sacrificed? That was a mind control, wasn't it? That was the mind control. They claimed that there was a better place, and guess what? If you win the game, you win the big game, and we get to sacrifice you, and you go on to where we all want to be. You know. Strangle SG1. Okay, Stargate. Oh yeah, Stargate 1, right? Yeah, there's the Stargate is also then a you know, a reflection of you know, of the mandala, right? So so there you go, a little bit of symbolism. I'm just overwhelmed at their genius, because certainly they are genius in what they do. They are perfect. Notice they are perfect in what they do. They do have some chinks in their armor and definitely have some flaws, but nonetheless, what they do, what they've accomplished within this scheme against mankind, is its own form of perfection. You know, and Yeshua said we're supposed to be perfect, and if we put on that perfect light, then you know that we won't be fooled. Okay, bottom line. So in regard to you know, what we were talking about yesterday morning, with you know, getting caught up in the drama and caught up in everything that's going on, you know, flat earth, a Mandela effect, CERN. You know, I remember the scripture that says a workman does not concern himself with the affairs of this world. Okay, so take note of the scripture. A workman does not concern himself with the affairs of this world. Now, concern, as it says in the scripture, is not actually the perfect word. It would be more like, a workman does not get caught up in the affairs of this world. That would be more correct in the transliteration. A workman does not get caught up in it. So I observed, that's why I told you I don't give any of my energy to CERN, to flat earth, or Mandela effect. You see, I looked at it, I saw the enigmas, I said, well, that's rather interesting, isn't it? But then I know how the game is played. It's about diversion. And so I don't need to know how the collider works, or sure, they're doing scientific stuff, sure, but they're never gonna do all these sensational things that opening up another window somewhere, all these other things. Anything is possible. It is true, but remember, Yeshua rules. Yeshua rules, and therefore, whatever they do, he allows them to do. But did he not deliver Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from the fire in Babylon? Did he not deliver Daniel from the lion's den? Didn't he deliver Abraham from 3 days in the fire in Babylon by virtue of Nimrod throwing him there? This is in the book of Jasher, of course. You got to read that. It wasn't Joseph, after he was sold into Mitzrayim slavery, then put on the ring of Pharaoh, which meant he was just like Pharaoh. In that picture, Pharaoh then represents Yahweh, because Joseph is wearing his ring. This Pharaoh claimed to be sitting on the sun throne. So he claims to be the source of light. And therefore, Joseph then, Volshaf, puts on the ring that says he has all the power of Pharaoh. He is just like Pharaoh, but Pharaoh still rules, And so we've got to realize that, like I like to observe, I like to, watch that the political cartoon of Washington, D.C., right? I watch it, I observe it, not too much anymore, but I periodically, just to see what they're doing, trying to figure out the next game. Good morning, Barb. Good to have you. And so I like to figure out how the game, that's the big game. You see, if we're going to talk about a game, then I want to watch the big game. And so that's the only game I watch. I couldn't tolerate, watching football. I did it once, for a short time, but couldn't. So watching the big game, that's the one I want to. I already know how the game is played. I already know who the losers are. The losers are the liars, and we are the victors in the Mashiach. You see, that's beautiful. That's why there's no worries, as they say down under. There are no worries, okay? Because we already know how the game is played, and that we have a connection with the one. We're not being lied to anymore. We're not being deceived anymore. We have woke up to the game, and so know the big game, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be following those stupid little games that divert the little time you have. Imagine getting caught up in games, and we have only so much time on earth. The most valuable thing. What is the most valuable thing you have? It is your time. You only have so much time to figure this game out and then to be set free, ladies and gentlemen. So, okay, so a workman does not get caught up or get concerned about the affairs of this world, because it is the diversion. Okay, it is the diversion. So there you go. Okay, and so Mandela effect. Mandela effect. So I wanted to go into that definition, because I think it will help us to get a better picture of what this is all about. Okay, let me pull it up here. Mandela. Okay. I find it interesting that they had Nelson Mandela, I'm going to have to turn my air conditioner on, so just give me a second here. All right. So let's do definite and a little definition that will. Now this book was done in Spain, and it was by an insider. Okay, he was a Jesuit. So oh, and real quick, an exercise. Okay, a word. Here's a word for you. Um, and not only was he a Jesuit adjutant, not a Jesuit, but he was a Jesuit adjutant, meaning he, like the captain of the Titanic, was a lady in waiting, ready anytime they needed help. So write down on a card the word Mandela, Mandala, Mandala, and I'm going to show you something. And Barb says, I agree with you, Desert. I don't really need to know all the evil ins and outs, their evil agenda, as Yeshua and the great Elohim will be shutting it down before they succeed. Yeah, well, they've already lost. They've lost the game because they're on the wrong side. They're on the side of darkness. Bottom line. Okay, so under the word Mandela, then letter for letter, just go below underneath and write down the word mental. M under M, E under A, N under N, T under D. Okay, mental. And then a hyphen and ALL. Okay, so Mandela is an anagram for all mental, all mental. And so you see that it actually expresses, and by the way, the D and the T are twins. Okay, D is of the darkness, T represents the cross that leads us back home, the ancient navigation symbol that was Yeshua was crucified on. Okay, so there's a parallel. The E supplemented the A, and so what I'm showing you is a direct parallel. Mandala is mental in the code. Okay, and then you take the last two letters AL. And you put them in the front, and you get all mental. It's all mental. It's all in the mind. Okay, it's not about the physical. It is about the mental. So interesting. The battle is for the mind. So Mandela. Here we go. This is a Hindu term for circle. It is a kind of yantra, instrument, means, or emblem, in the form of a ritual geometric diagram, sometimes corresponding to specific divine attribute or to some form of enchantment, mantra, which is thus given visual expression. Kaman suggests that mandalas were first brought to Tibet from India, no doubt, by the great guru Padma Sambhava in the 8th century AD. Well, I would venture to say it was a lot earlier than that. They are all to be found all over the Orient, and always as a means towards contemplation and concentration, as an aid in inducing certain mental states and in encouraging spirit to move forward along its path of evolution from the biological to the geometric, from the realm of corporal forms to the spiritual. According to Heinrich Zimmer, mandalas are not only painted or drawn by, but are also actually built in 3 dimensions for some festivals. One of the members of the Lamast convent of Bhutia Butsti, Lingdom Gomchen, described the mandala to Carl Gustav Jung as a mental image which may be built up in the imagination only by a trained lama. He maintained that no one mandala is the same as another. All are different because each is a projected image of the psychic condition of its author, or in other words, an expression of the modification brought by this psychic psychic content to the traditional idea of the mandala. Thus, the mandala is a synthesis of a traditional structure plus free interpretation. Its basic components are geometric figures, counterbalanced and concentric. Hence, it has been said that the mandala is always a squaring of the circle. Well, the square typically represents the four corners of the earth, and the circle typically represents the sun and moon, and therefore also navigation. And remember, the mandala is also the steering wheel on the ship, that classic sailing ship that had the giant steering wheel with knobs on it that you could turn real hard. That's the mandala. So it means that India is steering everything. Okay, steering everything. And you can do a search when you're ready. Just do a Google search for mandala, and you can see what one looks like. Perhaps I should show one right here to help you out. Let me pull up the graphic on this. Okay, hang on. Video capture. Okay. Here's a picture. You remember, you may have seen Dalai Lama, create these, and they're all different colors, and they do it with sand, colored sand. Okay, so that's your mandala right there. But the circle is the prime element. Okay, and it means cycle and completion. Okay. Continuing. Oh, and under that definition of that picture, it says the expanding center, a concept exemplified in the Sri Yantra mandala. And so we have four prime elements. We got the square, the circle, and the triangle, all prime elements in creation. There are some works. The Sri Chakra Sambhara Tantra is one, which prescribed rules for the better imagining of this image. Coinciding in essence with the mandala are such figures as the wheel of the universe, the Mexican great calendar stone. I think that's talking about the Aztec calendar, the Mayan calendar, right? Yeah, the Mayan calendar. The lotus flower, the mythic flower of gold, the rose, and so on. In a purely psychological sense, it is feasible to identify the mandala with all figures composed of various elements enclosed in a square or a circle. For instance, the horoscope, the labyrinth, the zodiacal circle, figures representing the year, also the clock, ground plan of circular, square, or octagonal buildings are also mandalas. See, it's very elusive and almost all-encompassing in that sense. As for the three-dimensional forms, there are temples built after the pattern of the mandala with its essential counterbalancing of the elements, its geometric form and significant number of component elements. The stupa in India is the most characteristic of these temples. Again, according to Kamen, there are some Chinese shields and mirror backs which are mandalas. In short, the mandala is above all an image and a synthesis of the dualistic aspects of differentiation and unification, of variety and unity, the external and the internal, the diffuse of the concentrated. It excludes disorder and all related symbolism because by its very nature it must surmount disorder. It is then the visual plastic expression of the struggle to achieve order. Well, that's what the New World Order, Old World Order want to do, right? They want to achieve, it's their struggle to achieve order. But what kind of order do they give us? They give us ordo akeo, right? Order out of chaos. They give us chaos while they're saying they want order. Even within diversity and of the longing to be reunited with the pristine, non-spatial, the non-temporal center. Well, they can't go to the non-temporal center because they're outside the circle. Actually, that's the great irony. They're outside the circle. Continuing, let me back up here to get this thought. Non-spatial, non-temporal center as it is conceived in all symbolic traditions. However, since the preoccupation with ornamentation, that is, with unconscious symbolism, is in effect a concern for ordering a certain area, that is, for bringing order into chaos. It follows that this struggle has two aspects. Firstly, the possibility that some would-be mandalas are the product of the simple aesthetic or utilitarian desire for order, and secondly, the consideration that the mandala proper takes its inspiration from the mystic longing for supreme integration. In Jung's view, mandalas and all concomitant images parallel or consequent of the kind mentioned above are derived from the dreams and visions corresponding to the most basic of religious symbols known to mankind, symbols which are known to have existed as far back as Paleolithic age, as is proved, for example, by Rhodesian rock engravings. That's Rhodesian would be in Africa. Many cultural, artistic, or allegorical works, and many of the images used in numismatics must have sprung from this same primordial interest in the psychic or inner structure with its external counterpart, to which so many rites pertain to the founding of cities and temples, to the divisions of heavens. That's a code word. To the divisions of planets and continents, most likely, to orientation and the space-time relationship bear eloquent testimony. The juxtaposition of the circle, the triangle, and the square, numerically the equivalents of the numbers 1 and 10, 3 and 4 and 7, plays a fundamental role in the most classic and authentic of Oriental mandalas, even though the mandala always alludes to the concept of the center, never actually depicting it visually, but suggesting it by means of the concentricity of the figures. At the same time, it exemplifies the obstacles in the way of achieving and assimilating the center. In this way, the mandala fulfills its function as an aid to man in his effects, to regroup all that is dispersed around a single axis, the Jungian syllabist. Okay, so that sounds like the enemy, doesn't it? Regrouping all that is dispersed around a single axis. That would be like, what would be the axis power primary, right? That'd be the United States, British corporation in a box, Jesuit front. It is of interest to note that the same problem occupied the alchemist, except that a very different aspect of being was under investigation. Jung suggests that the mandala represents an autonomous psychic fact, or a kind of nucleus about whose intimate structure and ultimate meaning we have no direct knowledge. In other words, it's part mystery. That's what we were talking about, trying to decipher what the collider was all about, and then Shiva doing the dance in the circle. Okay, it's certainly deeper than even the things that are being said here. Mircea Eliade, speaking as an historian of religions and not as a psychologist, sees the mandala chiefly as an objective symbol, an imago mundi, that means the center of imagination, rather than a projection of the mind, without, however, discrediting the latter interpretation. The structure of the temple, the Borobudur temple, for instance, in the form of a mandala, has as its aim the creation of a monumental image of life and the distortion of the world to make it a suitable vehicle for the expression of the concept of supreme order, which man, the neophyte or initiate, might then enter as he would enter into his own spirit. The same is true of the great mandalas traced on the ground with colored threads or colored dust. Here, colored sand, not dust. Here, rather than serving the purpose of contemplation, they have a ritual function in which man may move gradually towards the inner area, identifying himself with each stage and each zone as he goes. This rite is analogous to that of entering into the labyrinth, denoting, and just in case you don't remember, the labyrinth is the maze. You know, you get lost in, you go in there and you don't know how to get out, the labyrinth, denoting the quest for the center. And the psychological and spiritual implications are self-evident. There are some mandalas which counterbalance not enclosed figures but numbers arranged in geometric discontinuity. For instance, 4 points, then 5. We should include the 5-pointed star. That's right. Then 3, and there are identified with the cardinal points, the elements, colors, and so on. The significance of the mandala being wonderfully enriched by these additional symbolisms. Mirrors of the Han Dynasty depict, and that's in China, depicts the numbers 4 and 8 balancing each other and disposed around the center in 5 zones, which correspond to the 5 elements. Well, there's actually 4 elements, but this is a part metaphorical. In parentheses, it says here, that is, the 4 material elements plus the spirit. There you go. Or quintessence, the quintessence, the quintessence. Let me just try to slow. Quintessence. Okay, yeah, I'm getting old. In the West, alchemy made quite frequent use of figures having a definite affinity with the mandala, composed of counterpoised circles, triangles, and squares. According to Heinrich Kluntrath, the triangle within the square produces the circle. There are, as Jung has pointed out, distorted mandalas different in form from the above and based upon the number 6, 8, and 12, but they are comparatively rare. In all mandalas in which numbers are the predominant element, it is numbered symbolism, which can best plumb its meaning. The inner interpretation should be such that the superior or the principal elements are always those nearest the center. Thus, the circle within the square is a more developed structure than the square within the circle. And the same relation, that's because the circle is dominant. That's the primary. That's the sun and moon, visual. And the same relationship to the square holds good for the triangle. For the structure between the number 3 and the number 4 seem to represent that between the central elements of the spirit corresponding to 3 and the spherical components, that is, the cardinal points as the image of order, externality, correspond to 4. The outer circle, on the other hand, always fulfills the unifying function of overriding the contradictions and the irregularities of angles and sides by means of its implicit movement. The characteristics of the Sri Yantra, one of the finest mandala instruments, have been explained by Luc Benoist. It is composed around a central point, which is the metaphysical and irradiating point of primordial energy. However, thus energy is not manifest, and therefore the central point does not actually appear in the drawing, but has to be visualized. Surrounding it is a complex pattern of 9 triangles, an image of the transcendent worlds. 4 of these triangles have been the apex. 4 of these triangles have been the apex pointing upwards, and other 5 downwards. The intermediate or subtle world is suggested by a triple aureole surrounding the triangles, an 8-petaled lotus signifying regeneration, together with others of 16 petals, and a triple circle, complete with this symbolic representation of the spiritual world. The fact that it exists within the material world is suggested by a triple line signifying a triple line serrated surround, signifying orientation in space. Orientation in space. whether that's outer space or both. I think it implies both. And there we have a little expression of the mandala. The next definition is actually the mandalora, which is the vesica Pisces, where you have two circles come together, and in the middle you get that center zone. Good morning, friends jumping on. Good to have you, Jenny and Sundog. Sorry, keep losing you. I'm sorry to hear that. Void in between Pentagon. Oh, okay, and Fort Bolivar. Okay, you're doing the cruise. Okay, gotcha. You're in a cruiser. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You remember, signs and symbols rule the world, and that's why I, brought this definition on today, because it's a primary. Once we talked about it yesterday, I realized how significant it was. With the Hadron Collider, it's more symbolic. I'm telling you, that collider is more to be looked at in symbolic terms than to be concerned about what they can do with it, because whatever they can do with it, don't worry, they don't have a trump card on Yeshua, the one who made the universe. They've got no trump card. Remember, they're masters of illusion. Let them play their little toy games. That's all they can do. They can't disrupt anything between you and your Redeemer. If you are tight with your Redeemer, it's all a shell game. Okay, Ninja, good. I'm glad you got something out of that. And we have to keep putting, as Socrates once said, he developed what's called the Socratic reasoning. Okay, and what he said is you have to keep putting questions to something, and if you keep putting questions to it, you will ultimately, the truth will come to the top, and you will keep getting answers. So they are the diversion, and they want us to get caught up in their drama. But there's another drama, and it's your spiritual drama, the relationship with you and your Redeemer. You need to be fully immersed in that, because there's not enough time to become expert at everything, and to figure them out. We'll never figure them out totally. We only know that they're in the darkness. That's the most simplest way to know the truth. They're in the darkness, and therefore we know what the darkness is. It's void. Sundog, Shannon, you're saying, I'm going to get caught off soon this AM, but I'd love to know your thoughts on the Pentagon, why they chose that name and image. Yeah, so do you want to wait till tonight, or do you want me to comment on that right now? Is it a good time? Thank you, Barb. Looking for a reply on Sundog. You want me to try? And you can just go back and listen to it. We're at 47 minutes, 48 minutes into the program. Okay. Have you been to the Goddard Tunnel ceremonial opening? No. I wasn't invited. I didn't even know about it. I don't know where that is. But okay, so let me look up Pentagon. Let's go with the definition first. All right, LMNOP. LMN, Pentagon. P. Don't tell me it's not in here. LMNOPQ. Oh, wait, back up. PEN. Actually, not in this. Let me go to my other dictionary. It's not in this one. Okay. Good morning, Martha. Pentagon. PEN. If it's not in both of these dictionaries, that's a conspiracy. Penta. Come on. I can't get over it. Penta? Oh, well, interesting. Not one of these dictionaries on symbols has pentagon. What a mind blower. But it does have pentacle, pentangle, and pentagram. So let's see what it says on that. It's a short paragraph. Symbolizes the figure of man with outstretched arms and legs, the integral personality, the human microcosm being endless, but pentacle takes on the significance, power, and perfection of the circle. Its 5 points are spirit, air, fire, water, earth, with salves. What is that? S-A-L-V-S in capital letters. With salves at the points, it represents health and the five senses. Like the circle, it has the power of binding evil powers. Give me a break. And elementals. Hence, it denotes good luck. Yeah, good luck on that. In Christianity, it stands for the 5 wounds of Christ and was the emblem of Sir Gawain. Pentacle depicts the goat adversary, which would be Baphomet, and the witch's foot. Which foot? That's what I want to know. Inverted, it is also a sign of the universal of man's true nature. Oh, excuse me. Inverted, it also is a sign of the reversal of man's true nature. Okay? And so I could go, I've got one more dictionary here on scriptures and myths. Let's see if pentagram or pentagon or pentagram is in here. L-M-N-O-P, penta, P-E-N. P-E-N, getting close. Penance, that's an interesting one. Penance, of that type of a word. Let me turn on my light again. I'm just curious why penna is related to penance, a symbol of aspiration which implies disconnect with the lower condition to which the spirit is for a time bound. But those in whom dwell penance, abstinence, and truth, to them belongs the pure Brahma world. Now, don't get turned off by Brahma. Remember, Abraham, his title is Brahm. Okay, he has the same title. It was a universal Eastern thought. We've been prejudiced against things from the East when we embrace an Eastern culture. Okay, so the pure Brahm world, that's what we want in Yeshua. Okay, to them, namely, and in whom when there is nothing crooked, nothing false, and no guile. Okay, those qualities or souls which aspire while withdrawing from the lower attractions and which pursue the truth, to them is assigned consciousness on the Buddhic plane, free from errors, illusions, and evils of the lower planes. And as they see abstinence, asceticism, asceta, austerities, fasting, people, skepticism. And then there's penances, but I'm looking for penta, P-E-N, P-E-N-T. I can't get over it. No pentagon, no pentagram. So let's just talk about pentagram or the pentagon in the, in the logic here, because if the 6-pointed star is the star of creation and symbol of the sun, then the five-pointed star is incomplete and is lacking, and therefore that draws, the first word that comes to my mind is confusion. But then look at how they use it, right? In the occult rituals. So it's of the darkness because it's incomplete. It's not 6, it's 5. Then it's incomplete, and therefore, where do we see it? We see it in occultism, right? Baphomet, and they make their circle, they make their mandala, put the star in the middle, and then they put somebody there. They do their little games inside the circle where the pentagram is. So we can see that it is of the darkness, and therefore it would have to be associated with war, and therefore the pentagon is none other than a giant pentagram circle. Okay, they just didn't draw the circle around it, right? They give it 5 sides, but it's really, you got the mandala. The mandala is still there. You see, this is part of the great mystery of this illusory aspect of what they do, and what it's always there. The circle is always there in that sense. So then look at, where do they put the 5-pointed star of the pentagon? They put it on the aircraft, right? They put the star, most specifically, we saw it in World War II on the tanks. I don't know if they are still using the star anymore, because I'm not paying attention to their modern warfare nonsense. They do use the V. You see the V, which is the primary element in the upside down star. What's at the very top of the upside down star? The V, right? It's the reversed. It creates the cup. There's the what's supposed to be the Virgin, but we know that she is really the whore, and therefore, so the bottom line, the pentagon, symbol of darkness, and therefore also symbol of war, because war is of the darkness. Okay, simple. Off the top of my head, I hope that helped you out, Shannon. Okay, Sundog in D.C. And did she say she was driving by the Pentagon right now? I don't know. But anyway, I hope that helped you out. It may have she may have lost the signal, and we'll have to pick it up on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to take a musical interlude, and then I'm going to do a quick one definition on mind control to follow up. This is all part of it. This is all relevant. It's all connected, And so then we'll do a few words that kill, and then we'll do the history of the church. Okay, so I'm trying to cover a lot of ground today in short time, and there's a lot to pull together. And Yocheleg, how do you say that? Yocheleg. Good morning to you. Welcome to the broadcast. Glad to have new friends stopping by all the time. Okay, so you're tuned in right here to therealpublicradio.net, therealpublicradio.net. You know what I mean? And Free America Radio Network. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it. And that's why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. So, and if you weren't there, I wouldn't be here. Okay, so thanks for being there. Okay, you did tell your friends. Thanks for doing that. Jenny, I don't know anything about the Goddard Tunnel. I'm sorry, I can't help you. You have to fill me in. Call me on the side if you want. Fill me in. Thank you, Martha. Oh yeah, the Goddard Tunnel. I get it. It's the longest tunnel in the world, I think, right? Yeah, it was a major operation. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, connecting the east with the west in Europe. I saw the documentary on the building of that. Tomorrow I'm going to show you a definition on the Indianapolis 500, and I'm going to show you Hindustan all over it, okay? I'm going to prove out tomorrow that India is secretly running the world by the state Indiana, Indianapolis 500, the 500-year cycle. Been talking about, right? The Phoenix, all of that. That'll be tomorrow. Or maybe tonight. I think I may do that tonight. Okay? And welcome back, friends, to the realpublicradio.net, the Forbidden History series, what they didn't want you to know. And But we're spilling the beans right here because we've got little time left. We know they're going to pull the plug. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ninja, for that. If anybody wants to send me a link on that so I can watch the ritual for the grand opening, I'd be glad to watch that, okay? So we're on mind control, and I just wanted to read the definition. I'm reading now out of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary. Okay, and by the way, if you have a great life history or a word that kills, then let me know about it. Okay, give me a call. Love to hear it. But the definition of MK Ultra, MK Ultra means mind control ultra, but and how we say it here in America would be ultimate mind control. Okay, formerly Operation Paperclip, that came from Nazi Germany after World War II. It then headed by Senator Robert Byrd of West Virginia, who was the handler of sex slave mind control victim Kathy O'Brien, very famous, who came out. My co-host once interviewed Kathy and Mark Phillips on our programming. So see Operation Paperclip, Presidential Sex Slave, Kathy O'Brien, Project Monarch, and Kathy O'Brien's book, co-authored with Mark, Transformation of America. Transformation of America. Okay? And so let me go into, oh, and by the way, there's a legal term called mixed war. This is what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. Mixed war. A mixed war is carried on between a political state on the one side and private society on the other side. Remember, they declared us the enemy? 1933, the bankruptcy. Once the bankruptcy occurred officially, we were the enemy before that, They enslaved us, didn't they? They enslaved their enemies, don't they? Well, the mixed war, a legal definition in Black's law, means a mixed war is carried on between the political state on the one side and the private society, or we might be able to say the sovereign, those who are separate and equal, on the other side, okay? So C capital. So there you go. We're in a mixed war, ladies and gentlemen. That is how it is legally defined. We are in a mixed war, but the battle is Yeshua's. Okay, that's the good news. We surrender. If we surrender to Yeshua, remember what he says? When they're coming after you, they're not coming after you. They're coming after me. That's what he said. They're coming after him. The battle is his. We simply have to surrender to his great will and do what the word says to do. And that, that makes it so simple. It is so beautiful, right? I mean, we've already got our own rule book. We've got the book that we got a roadmap that takes us back home. All we have to do is follow what it says, and if we don't know the word, then we're going to get caught up in that drama of planet Earth. We'll get caught up in it, and we'll start worrying and wondering and unable to fulfill our inner journey, which is reaching that state of perfection that Yeshua has called us to be like him. He said, "Greater works you would do." Well, obviously, if you're going to do greater works, you're going to be very much like him in being separate, resisting all the temptations of this world. That was the 40 days. Remember the 40 days? Okay, he was tested. And so we're all being tested, ladies and gentlemen, and we have to win the test because it is a battle for the mind. And here is our definition of mind control. I asked Stephen Jacobson to do this for me back in 2011. He was so kind to write a definition for mind control. And let me just take a sip of my throat therapy, and I'll be right on it. And want to welcome all of our new listeners. Great to have you. Covering a lot of ground. If you've missed the first 2 weeks of this latest series of Forbidden History, go to the premiere edition. That is June 21st, just a couple months ago, about 6 weeks ago, and then less than that, and just start following it forward, because on the first two weeks I dumped everything I could think of all the stuff I've been learning that is the most crucial, that has been hiding from us. You know, the all the tricks and the trades and the trap and the you know. So just go listen to it and work forward. That'll be a really you'll hear things you never heard before. I promise you, and I can guarantee it. So what's this? A quote of mine? I got a quote here. Oh, mind and spirit. Here, this fits right in with our mind control. This was a quote I wrote while I was a political activist, actually probably like 1997. 98 I wrote this, 97 I think, or maybe 96, somewhere in that area, when I was waking up to the reality of that illusion. It goes like this. It's about mind and spirit. The battle for the mind and the spirit of we the people rages on. Just like a blazing fire, the weapons that we face and are set up against us are disinformation, media propaganda, the control of our own direction and our diction, censorship, secret alliances, secret societies, all within dark covenant relationships, also known as coven. For this reason, the world as we know it will soon come to an end. Well, was that a prediction? I said that in 1996, the world will soon come to an end. That's the end of the Gentile dispensation. We're being dispensed, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. As we know it, the world will soon come to an end. All within a total ignorance and an obscure, thick cloud of darkness. So never stop asking those important questions, but then do keep questioning every answer. Do your own research. Become one within yourself with Yeshua, but then draw upon your own conclusions. Since tomorrow, it never comes. We only have today. Be in the now, in the present moment. It is true, we must all learn the proper way to live, and then make peace within ourselves, within the here and the now. And then I put down a footnote, see Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And now, mind control. Mind control. The dictionary defines the word mind. Oh, and by the way, that's interesting, because actually the very word mind control has not been found in any of the dictionaries. That's one of the word combinations that has been left out of all dictionaries, to my knowledge. And that was discovered by Stephen, and then I pretty well confirmed that as well. So, but it is in the Real Da Vinci Code etymological dictionary. Okay, mind control. They don't even want us thinking about it. You see, they don't even want us thinking about the term mind control. So there's no definition for mind control, other than by Stephen Jacobson. Mind control. The dictionary defines the word mind as the place where thinking occurs. The word control means to regulate, direct, or exercise authority over. The term mind control then refers to a broad spectrum of psychological techniques, both internal and external, ranging from simple control of information to trauma-based mind control, designed to regulate, direct, or exercise authority over the mind, and thus over thinking, feeling, and will. There are two kinds of mind control: negative and positive mind control. Negative mind control subverts an individual's or a group's or a population's ability to regulate, direct, or exercise autonomous authority over their own thinking, behavior, feeling, and emotions without their conscious awareness, and therefore without their consent. We do not consent. The objective of mind control is to build a conditioned response in the subconscious of the targeted individual, group, or population. Yeah, they even do it to the population, don't they? Literally, they control the population. One can also unknowingly program one's own mind with negative programming by repeated negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions that build a conditioned response whereby one responds to the newness of the present moment. Experience with thinking, feeling, and emotions rooted in the past, as we should also add smells. Smells is a part of it. Rooted in the past as memories that influence, that interfere with, obstruct, and prevent the full and genuine experience of the present moment. So-called positive thinking and the application of the principles of mental programming and conditioning for positive change also fall into the category of negative mind control, because even though directed towards apparent positive change, they are not in alignment with the highest and true meaning of positive mind control, meant for the highest good of all. In other words, positive direction. Positive mind control is sort of an oxymoron, but the positive mind directing, which we get, for instance, through our scriptures, right? Positive mind control is the action of intentional conscious control of all thoughts, feelings, and emotions to maintain a pure, thought-free state of mind that is experienced as pure being. Realizing and abiding in this pure state is the goal of all bona fide spiritual practice. This is the holy, natural, or pure and original state of the pure awareness underlying pure consciousness, the substance of all things. This state is without the blemish, obstruction, and limitation of repetitive patterns of thought, feelings, and emotions that compromise one's mental programming and conditioning and subsequently create one's experiences and circumstances. To be free, one must erase and clean all conditioning and programming, all patterns of repetitive thoughts, feelings, and emotions to zero. How to do this is the sum and substance of the spiritual practice. There you go. This is your answer, ladies and gentlemen. How to do this is the sum and substance of the spiritual practice that is the foundation of all religion. Stephen Jacobson, producer and author of Mind Control in America audio series, mindcontrolinamerica.com, and Wake Up America, Exposing the Deception of Modern Money. See MK Ultra, Operation Paperclip, Project Monarch, Psychopolitics. Oh, why don't we do psychopolitics? That's right up our alley here. Let me see here. LMNOP, NOP, and then we'll get on to the history of the church. Psychopolitics. HIJKLMNOP, QRS, QRPS. Getting close. QR. Psycho PS. Prisons. Can somebody sing or dance? I'll be right with you. Wait a minute. I don't have psychopolitics in here? Give me a break. I know I put it in the latest draft. I guess I don't have it a PS. Hang on. PS, prison, QRS, priest, free Eddie Kane. I guess I don't, can't believe it. Almost done, ready to give up here. I don't think I have it. QRPS. Here it is. Oh, I got it. Okay, I've got several dictionaries in one, so it takes a while to figure stuff out here. Okay, psychopolitics. A synthesis of the Russian brainwashing manual on psychopolitics. This book is based on an original 1955 tome by Charles Stickley, a professor who, quote, Russian brainwashing manual on psychopolitics. He wrote the Russian brainwashing manual on psychopolitics, ISBN 1-4116-1822-X. Okay, that's the ISBN number. Russian Brainwashing Manual on Psychopolitics. 2. Psychopolitics. Psychopolitics is the art and science of asserting and maintaining dominion over the thoughts and loyalties of the individuals, officers, bureaus, and masses, and the effecting of the conquest of the enemy's nations through mental healing. See, and then, okay, then the book, you can purchase a book. At the time, it was $10. Brainwashing, a synthesis of Russian textbook of psychopolitics, a must-read for all Americans. Receive a photocopy of the 68-page manual go to FHU.com. Okay, you can get a free copy of the a PDF version, 68-page manual, by going to FHU.com. That's Foundation for Human Understanding, FHU.com/brainwashing, both one word, brainwashing_book.html. Okay, just play this back and you'll get it. Okay, and I'll read it one more time. FHU.com/brainwashing_book.html. See also MK Ultra, Operation Paperclip, Project Monarch. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Be set free. We can do that. Okay, we can be set free. That's a growth process in itself. But going to your Redeemer, remember, He unlocks all things. He reveals all things. And that is the good news. That is the good news. Oh, okay. Well, I forgot. We've got a couple words that kill. It'll fit right in line with what we've just been talking about, and then we'll get to the history of the church. Okay, that's a book review. Duality Revealed. Okay, and so love those words that kill. Don't you just love them? It's rather entertaining to see how they've played the game on us. Isn't it great to wake up to the game and to know that, you know, at one time they were playing the game on us, but now the game is over and they can't fool us anymore? Hey, thank you, Ninja. Okay, so yeah, it's a funny joke. Ha ha ha! They really had a party on us, but you know, we're being set free continually. And that's why they work overtime to destroy spirituality, Christianity. They control basically all organized religions of the world. It's another form of mind control, and so that's why I would rather stand alone with the truth than be you know, in a false tradition, because we can't come to the highest level in a false tradition. We were told to come out of Babylon, come out, and then I will have supper with you. Be a separate people. That is what the scripture says. Be a separate people, and then there was one more. Separate yourself, and I will have supper with you. So those two scriptures were my foundation when I got married, you know, so okay, I'm going to have home church, home school. I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to read books. I don't care what anybody else, you know, has you know, talking about with their commentaries or you know, the religious programming. I'm going to read. I'm going to see and read it for myself. So I separated myself. Be a separate people. And even in, you know, in the Old Covenant, it talked about Israel as being a separate people. Even though they didn't live up to the standard, they were a separate people. We have to separate from the falsehood, from the false traditions, from the deception. The truth is not a part of any lie. The truth is not a part of any lie. We have to be set free, ladies and gentlemen, and follow that scripture. That's when it opened up, when I was willing to separate myself. Okay, then I could hear just Yeshua speaking, and not the false Mashiach, okay, so I have a couple cards that are on top of the Pirate Sea of Words that I had written down. One of them is hope. That's a lexiog of you know, 3 words. Okay, so if you write down hope, you can get that the word the H is the word the, and then the E is a corruption at the end. You drop it off, and the primary root, the abbreviated root of opening, is ope. So hope literally means the opening. So why are you hopeful? You're hopeful because you have an opening. You know you have an opening to eternity, and that gives you hope. That means you continue to plow the field. You continue to work on the self. You continue with the opening, knowing the opening is there, that Yeshua is all forgiving. He doesn't care how many times you have failed. He's saying, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So hope is the opening. That's the original thought, ladies and gentlemen, not some esoteric idea, but the original, the opening is our hope. We know the door is open. And then church, a church comes from Kirk. And so it's an occultic word. That's why the CH is at both sides. But in the occultic spelling, it's the broken H, the broken bridge, which is the K, K-I-R-K versus C-H-U-C-H. So you can see it's a occultic, and therefore a reverse anagram. It reads the same way frontwards and backwards. But literally, the essence of what the church was in the beginning, okay, it would be an expression in the original thought, and it is the perfect circle of the called out ones. There's the circle again, right? There's the Ouroboros. There is the mandala. It is the perfect circle of the called out ones. That's the circle that we want. The perfect circle of those who are willing to put off the imperfections of this world, the deception, the corruption, and to put on the light of perfection, because the light is expressive of perfection. And so we have to be called out. There's the separation again. If you're called out, what are you being called out from? The world makes you a separate people, a separate people. And so you only want to be with birds of the same feather, of the feather of truth, okay? The feather of truth, the feather of light, the feather of perfection. And so so that's the table that Yeshua has called us to, okay? And then interesting that the word revolution, we see the word revolve. Whoa, makes me think immediately of, the Freemasons who say that they wage all revolutions, and what goes around comes around in that mandala. What goes around comes around, and so it's another revolving door. It's another version of the other version of the other version of the other version. You see, nothing new under the sun. It's the old game. It's the new game. The new game is the old game. Okay, so Albert Pike said they wage all revolutions, meaning they wage all wars. That means that the Freemasons are responsible for all the death and destruction that we've ever seen on the planet, at least since they've called themselves Freemasons. But whatever they called themselves before that, that's the name of their game. That's why they are so wicked, and even sacrifice young virgin teenagers and eat their flesh and rape and destroy the lives of babies and young people. It's an amazing. And then they drape themselves in brotherhood and call each other brother. Well, they're brothers of darkness, because Masonic means the mother sons of darkness. Their own name means mother sons. And then they say, remember, tell the Grand Poobah when he asks you what you want, tell him you want more light. Yes, my son, what do you want? Oh, Bubba, give me more light. Grand Poobah, more light. And they are mother sons of darkness. They have no light. What they do is they tell them a few more symbols, and they say, this symbol means this, and this other symbol means this, but don't tell anybody I told you. It's a secret, remember? And he just lied to them about the symbol again. As they keep going up through the degrees, it's another symbol and another meaning of a symbol, but it's another lie, because they never give them the real meanings. It's about the control of information. And Fritz Springmeier, a wonderful researcher who did a great presentation on the 13 Illuminati families and mind control. He said one day he saw it. It stuck out right in a book he was reading, and basically it said that they feed their initiates information progressively. And so what it really comes down to is the control of information, and that's how they do it. That's another form of mind control. We're going to give you the meaning of this symbol, but don't tell anybody, okay? And yet it's a lie. The meaning of the symbol is a lie, you see? And so that's how they do it. They control information. And that's why they want you graduating with the Masonic mortarboard on your head with mud in your eye, because you don't know anything. You didn't see anything. They never told you anything because they educated you Educate means to remove from your curriculum the things they didn't want you to know about, like the real nature of money, the true nature of law, the true nature of science, the, on and on and on. The true nature of words, the foundation of it all. Say you want to have a revolution? I don't think so. Yeah, that's right. They give out the information on a need-to-know basis as well. That's correct. And that's how we should all give out our information to anybody, right? Need to know. Okay, so we're in the piracy of words. Ire matey, yes. Matey, that's what they say down under, isn't it? Matey. Ire matey, okay. That's why they I guess they, when they banished all those people to, to Australia, the prisoners, they, they were on the pirate ships, of course, because England was a pirate sea as well. Matey, okay. So, so we're in the piracy of words, and then we'll get on the history of the church. HUD is HUD. That's what HUD is. An acronym for Housing Urban Development. HUD, right? Housing and Urban Development. That's an acronym for one of the alphabet agencies here in America that deals with housing, right? And so I just put as the definition, HUD is hut. H-U-T. Yes, they give us a little plastic hut. That's why they blow away as soon as the big bad wolf, the tornadoes come. These houses are so paper mache'd now and so crudely built. They could build houses to withstand more of this damaging wind and stuff, but they kept building them cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. None of these roofs, you see these roofs blow off? None of them have hurricane clips on them. I already know that. Hurricane clips would keep a roof on. And they don't even build them that way. They want them all to destroy. They planned on destroying everything ultimately. Yeah, the convicts, right. So C, urban housing and development of slaves. That's right. And so now we're in the letter I. In I, one, not this I. That's the wrong I. The letter I is a blind, actually. That's definition number 2 here, the blind. The letter I is a blind. And 3, that's not me. 4, symbol for the pillar of the Luciferian moon, okay, and the blind earthlings with the people as her footstool. 5, she took the place of the symbol Y. That's what they did teach us that in school, that the Y takes the place of the I, and that's true in some instances. And the Y is a symbol of light, primary letter of yellow. And also the great father's yellow light of the sun. The true I is the letter A. That's with a Y after it, pronounced A. That's the I, the original. My A's, I see with my A's. First letter, first symbol of the sun, symbol of light. See Indi, the seed of the moon, son of man. Item Sonan. So when you look at your driver's license, in all capital letters, you see what you think is your name, right? But yet it's not you, because it's you don't spell in all capital letters in today, okay? And so it looks like you, and it sounds like you, but it's not you, and that's called an item sonan. Item sonan. So there you hear the word sonar for sound, sonan. Item for item, and a unit of sound that sounds like you. Okay, so definition 1, an all cap name or word that looks like you, sounds like you, and from the bench or the bank, but it's not like you. So if you were in court, you could actually legally make the claim that you are not found on any of their paperwork, and if they would be willing to correct the paperwork, then but I wouldn't argue that with them, but I'm just saying in principle. So you're not on their paperwork, and you can put that in the form of affidavit, put it on public record, and that you're being held against your will, and so but that's one of those legal traps, and the game that they play, because it's a corporate trust. Actually, they can't deal with flesh and blood, and they deal with corporations. That's why they want you to get an attorney. Hope you will get an attorney. Please get an attorney. So you can play our game with us in our sandbox, and he'll take all the funny money you got, and you can put a lien on your property and go to prison anyway, because we're not here to save you. We're here to put you on Wall Street, babe. Come on. Item sonan. Okay, and one more. Oh, and there's that very popular word, incarcerated. Car is that which moves, and that's you. And then they want to serrate you, cut you up, and put you inter you, because that's inter means to bury you. So they want to bury your movement and cut you up, cut, burned, and buried alive. Just doing business as usual. Yes, it's a wonderful world, Mr. Smith. So that's our piracy of words for today. Hope you don't get seasick, but it's just the way they do business on our planet. All right, and now we are in the history of the church, and want to welcome any new listeners we have out there. No, Desert's not crazy. They're crazy, okay? It just looks that way. But, you know, we have to have a little fun in all of the insanity and the brutality that they initiate upon our planet, because, you know, they're coming for me, but they're coming for you as well. So we're all in this great mystery together, ladies and gentlemen, and we have to pull it together within ourselves. At one point, we'll very likely in this great drama could find ourselves very alone, but you're never alone. Remember that when Yeshua was abandoned by his followers, right? And not only did they abandon him, right, but his best buddy, Kefe, denied that he even knew him 3 times, right? And what did Yeshua say? You will all abandon me, but and leave me alone, but I am not alone. Okay, that's the beauty behind the truth. And by your connection with the one, you've got to know that you are never, ever alone in the mystery. That's why you have to see the things that you have never seen before, and to know the Travain presence, the divine presence, and put on the garment of light, okay? That bright white robe, brighter than snow. Laughter is the best medicine. Thank you very much, mate. Okay. So disaster in Jerusalem at the Passover and the events there in Nero's reign. Let's take another sip. Stand by. You see, Barb's got all the scriptures today. Very nice group participation there. I like that. All right. So it's I never had the opportunity to broadcast with this type of group interaction before. It's a totally novel experience, and certainly a lot more fun to you know, have that group interaction, and to interesting times with our technology. But be assured it won't be here for much longer. I'm sure you know that. 19. Okay, while Claudius was still on the throne during the Passover feast, so riotous a tumult broke out in Jerusalem that those of the Judeans alone, who were forcibly crushed together round the temple exits, 30,000 trampled each other to death. Wow. Thus the feast ended in distress to the whole nation and bereavement to every household. Josephus goes on to say that Claudius made Agrippa, the son of Agrippa, king of the Judeans, and sent Felix as procurator of the entire land, including Samaria, Galilee, and the district known as Perea in addition. He himself, having ruled the entire of the empire for 13 years and 8 months, died, leaving his throne to Nero. He was a wonderful guy, wasn't he? The ultimate narcissist egotist. In Nero's reign, when Felix was procurator of Judah, Josephus related the quarrel between the priests, relates the quarrel between the priest, the Ammon priest, and writing as follows in Antiquities, book 20. A quarrel broke out between the the chief priest on the one side and the priest and the leaders of the Jerusalem populace on the other side. Each of them recruited a band of the most reckless revolutionaries and put himself at their head. And when collisions occurred, they greeted each other with abuse and stone throwing. Well, they really came a long way as a tribe, didn't they, ladies and gentlemen? This is the one they still want us to think is Israel, right? Really, you know, the separate people, right? It sounds like they have perfected mob rule and insanity. There was not a single person to reprimand them. The scandal went on with impunity, as though in a city without a government. That's why, you know, when Yeshua walked up to that fig tree in his last week in Jerusalem, he went over to the fig tree to see if it had any fruit on it. All symbolic. The tree was Jerusalem. And when he saw there was no fruit there, he said, "Let no fruit grow on you hereafter and forever." You see? Jerusalem is totally irrelevant, and nobody can even interpret the symbolism of the scripture, what it means. Thank you, Barb. There was not a single person to reprimand them. The scandal went on with impunity, as though in a city without a government. Such impudence and audacity possessed the chief priests that they actually sent slaves to the threshing floor to seize the tithes that were the priests by right, so that disputed priests could be seen perishing of want. So completely was justice obliterated that the violence of by this violence of the warring parties. I mean, not to mention they crucified the Mashiach. What does that tell us about the tribe and who they were and about Jerusalem? They crucified the one who made the entire universe, the Mashiach, right? And then people want to, you know, think Jerusalem is somehow relevant. You know, they don't ever get it. You know, it's amazing. The mind control. There's that mind control again. They got everybody under the spell. Israel, Israel, Israel. And yet Israel disappeared 730 BC. 730 BC. And then 200 years later, Judah disappeared forever as a tribe. And those who came back after that were merely imposters, merely impersonators, merchants, Babylonian Talmudists. Josephus also records that at the same period, a type of bandits sprang up in Jerusalem. Oh, they wouldn't have bandits there, would they? A type of bandit sprang up in Jerusalem. Man, it sounds like Dodge or the OK Corral. These, he says, in broad daylight and in the middle of the city, murdered, wow, in that beautiful city, those who met them. Joe, how you doing? Hey, let me give you a knife. Pretty good. Their favorite trick was to mingle with festival crowds, concealing under their garments small daggers with which they stabbed their opponents. Sounds like Sodom and Gomorrah. When their victims fell, the assassins melted into the indignant crowd. And though their plausibility and through their plausibility entirely defied detection. First to have his throat cut by them was Jonathan, the high priest, and after him many were murdered every day. More terrible than the crimes themselves was the fear that they aroused. Every man, as in war, hourly expected death. A little later he goes on, a greater blow than this was inflicted on the Judeans, pseudo-Judeans we might say, by the Meitzoreim, pseudo-Egyptian, false prophet. So an Egyptian false prophet, okay? A greater blow, I'll just use that word here to get the context pretty well. A greater blow than this was inflicted on the Judeans by the Egyptian false prophet, even though it wasn't Egypt. Arriving in the land, this man, a fraud who posed as a seer, collected about 30,000 dupes, led them round by the wild country to the Mount of Olives, and from there was ready to force an entry into Jerusalem, overwhelmed the Roman garrison, and seized supreme power with his fellow raiders as bodyguard. But Felix anticipated his attempt by meeting him with the Roman heavy infantry and the whole population rallying to the defense, so that when the clash occurred, the Mitzrayim/Egyptian fled with a handful of men, and most of his followers were killed or captured. The passage comes from Book 2 of the Histories in Josephus. It is worthwhile to note what is stated about the Mitzrayim/Egyptian there and in the Acts of the Apostles, legates, royal messengers, where in the time of Felix, the military tribune at Jerusalem said to Paul, when the Judean mob was rioting against him, then you're not the Egyptian who a little while back started a revolt and led the 4,000 assassins out into the wild. So there's that connection, ladies and gentlemen, with our scriptures in the book of Acts. Okay, I'm going to highlight this there because even though I've read this before, it's like, you forget all this stuff. I'm just type book of Acts. I love to get the missing pieces of the story, and there's Felix, right? We remember him in the book of Acts, and he said, and he didn't know what to write to the emperor about his situation, right? And so, absolutely love the forbidden history. And so there we go with the history of the church by Eusebius. Ultimately became a sellout and served the Roman government and Constantine, and took that library over to Constantinople, Turkey, and said, here you go, Constantine, you're great. And the next one we'll be in is Paul sent as a prisoner to Rome and there acquitted. Okay, so I'm going to do one more musical interlude, ladies and gentlemen, then I'll read one chapter at least out of the original gospel. And you are tuned in right here to the Forbidden History series, What They Didn't Want You to Know, but we're happy to tell, on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. Don't forget, we're here twice a day, usually 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And thank you for being there, because if you weren't there, I wouldn't be here. Thank you, Martha. Thank you for the heart, Ninja. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Barb. You're all so sweet. You know, I can't quit now. I have such wonderful friends. You know, you all touch my heart every day. As hard as it is to do some mornings, I was really looking forward to today because I know I have a wonderful group of friends that I talk to every day around the world. And I know that, you know, your lives are, all of our lives are equally important. You know, we all want the same thing. We want peace, love, tranquility, transcendence, and we've got an occult cartel that's working overtime, staying up late at night to deny us our eternal being, our eternal peace. And they've done a hatchet job on all of our scriptures. They stole the library from us, and so all we can do now is grab the pieces. I'm stuck with you all. That's right. We're sticking together like glue, and because I think we're in the final phase now. Because one day they're going to pull the plug on this all of our electricity, and then then we'll all be isolated, and then we are alone with Yeshua, and that will be the final round, and we won't know what's coming until we see it outside our door. So we really need to pull things together here. That's what we need to do. Okay, and you're trying to find Acts 8:44 in your Bible and can't find it. The Mandela effect. I wouldn't put too much energy into that, Barb. So let's get on with our read. Chapter 23. Now Yeshua, with his friend Lama, went through all of the regions. And just to qualify for anyone new coming in, okay, Yeshua is at age 14 was sponsored by a patron, Ravana of Orissa, okay, and he took him into South India. Because Yeshua wanted to go. It was a part of his desire to go see the other parts of the world, because he saw the fraud of Jerusalem and Judah, and he knew it was a fraud, and so he had a sponsor, took him to South India, and then this is where the story picks up. Okay, chapter 23. Now Yeshua, with his friend Lama, went through all the regions of Orissa and the valley of the Ganges, seeking wisdom from the Sudra and the Visyas and the mother stars. Benares of the Ganges, well, if it's of the Ganges, then it's not. He's no longer in the south. Now he's in the east, northeast India, where the Ganges comes out of the the great Himalayan mountains. Benares of the Ganges was a city rich in culture and learning. Here the two seed planters stayed for many days, and Yeshua sought to learn the Hindu art of healing. That would be the Ayurvedic healing. The greatest healing science in the world is Ayurvedic healing, ladies and gentlemen. Is the most ancient art of healing, using regeneration and natural elements to restore the body. It is powerful. I saw a documentary on it couple times, and so that's what he learned. So see, when he was a healer, he comes home healing. He was already officially a healer, okay, from a practitioner standpoint. But of course, he had the spirit with him. So at one point, he transcends that required knowledge, and he's able to heal just by the breath, just by breathing, and he is able to heal. But he studied healing. You see, that's what's so beautiful, because he wanted to be a healer. He wanted to heal all the ill conditions in blood of the earth. So and Yeshua sought to learn the Hindu art of Ayurvedic healing, and became the pupil of Udraka, greatest of the Hindu healers. And Udraka planted seed about the uses of water, plants, and minerals, of heat and of cold, of sunshine and of shade, of light and of dark. He breathed. The laws of nature are the laws of health, and the eye who lives according to these laws is never sick. Transgression of these laws that means moving away from these laws, is the closing of the eyes. And he who closes his eyes becomes sick. He who obeys the laws maintains an equilibrium in all his parts and thus ensures true harmony. And harmony is health, while disharmony is dis-ease. Two words. Disease is dis-ease. That which produces harmony in all parts of blood of the earth is medicine, ensuring health. The body is a harpsichord, and when its strings are too relaxed or are too tense, the instrument is out of tune. The blood of the earth is sick. Now, everything in nature has been made to meet the needs of blood of the earth, so everything is found in the medical arcanes. Let's take a note. And when the harpsichord of blood of the earth is out of tune, the vast expanse of nature may be searched for remedy. There is a cure for every ailment of the flesh. Of course, the exacting will of blood of the earth is remedy supreme. The supreme remedy. The exacting will, the determination. And by the vigorous exercise of will, blood of the earth may make tense the cords that is too relaxed, or may relax one that is too tense, and this way may heal himself. When blood of the earth has reached the place where he has the victory of light in Yavohe, in nature and himself, he knows the shavor of power, the word of power. His shavor then becomes the balm for every wound. That's what happened with Yeshua. He just had to breathe and people were healed. But still he studied natural cure. And so his word is the balm for every wound, is cure for all ills in life. The word, the shavor. The healer is the blood of the earth who can inspire the victory of light. The tongue may speak to earthly ears, but souls are reached by souls that speak to souls. He is the forceful, the powerful blood of the earth whose soul is big and who can enter into other souls, inspiring hope in those who have no hope. There's your opening. The door is open. And the victory of light, that's faith, the victory of light in those who have no victory of light, in Yavohe, in nature, nor in man. There is no, when it's talking about nature here, just contrast that with how the modern day allopathy, and good morning, Anna, good to have you, and the modern day allopathy, right, which is the chemicals, out of petrochemicals, they make the medicines, right, the drugs, and yet they wanted us to have nothing to do with nature, right? Natural cures, organic natural cures that is superior to chemicals because it's safer, number one, but doesn't have the side effects nor the toxicity of drugs. But so there's a trust that we can have also in nature, and that's what it's saying here. Okay, there is no universal balm for those who tread the common walk of life. 1,000 things produce inharmony and make men sick. 1,000 things may tune the harpsichord and make men well. That which is medicine for one is poison for another. So one is healed by what would kill someone else. An herb may heal this one. A drink of water may restore another one. A mountain breeze may bring to life the someone seeming past all help. A coal of fire or a bit of mineral may cure another one, and one may wash in a certain stream or pools and be made whole. The virtues from the hand or breath may heal 1,000 more, but love is the queen. Thought, reinforced by Travain love, is Yahweh's great sovereign balm, love. But many of the broken chords in life and discords that so vex the soul are caused by blind winds of the air that men do not see, that lead men on through ignorance to break the pure shelter, the laws of nature. Nature is the pure shelter, and of the pure shelter of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. These powers act like dark natures, and they spark, and they tear apart the blood of the earth and drive him into despair. But the I, who is a healer and true, is a mother star of the mind and the shul, the soul, and can, by the force of acting positively, control these blind ones, these forces that are veiled. Some winds of the air are mother star winds and are very strong and too strong for earthly power alone. But blood of the earth has helpers in the higher realm that may be called upon, and they will help to drive the dark natures out. Of what this great physician had breathed, this is merely the sum. And Yeshua bowed his head in recognition of the great wisdom and wise judgment of this mother star mind and shul, soul. And then he went his way, ladies and gentlemen. And you just got the Forbidden History series. I want to thank you for tuning in today. I am inspired. I'm learning things here as well. And so let's keep it up, shall we? And this is our way of making it a better world. It's the only positive influx. When these words go out, they go out to the ether and continue to vibrate in the great mystery. And do tell a friend, won't you? Because we have the ability to reach people in a way with this presentation that may not be afforded in other presentations, okay? Yeshua has touched people all around the world, but we don't know everybody. We only know a few people in comparison to the number of people in this world. So I know what Yeshua has given me in the original thought that I'm breathing. Thank you, Lynn. Good to have you. And so I don't see the perfection of original thought out there. And so you are getting it here, and you need to see and read it for yourself. And that's what we're going to be bringing on every day, 9 a.m., 9 p.m. Eastern Time on therealpublicradio.net, okay? So thank you for being there. I'm Desert Owl telling you, don't forget, if you want to know the future, just look for the Forbidden History. It's what they didn't want you to know. That we tell right here. And I'm just happy to do it for you. Desert Owl signing off. Peace and love. And be well. Be safe out there. And watch the sun, okay? We're not in Kansas anymore. See you, Bart. Bye, Jedi. No problem, man. I'm glad to have you up there in Finland. We'll see you, Ninja. Thank you. Thank you.